This is in response to Dr. Paul Krugman's article in the New York Times on Friday, March 18th, 2016, Republicans' Elites' Reign of Disdain. So first off, Dr. Krugman has a little bit of a play on words there from The Sound of Music. No, it was not The Sound of Music. It was My Fair Lady with Rex Harrison and Audrey Hepburn, the movie. The Rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain, but the soundtrack from the Broadway hit, which had Rex Harrison and Julie Andrews from a few years before, was much, much better. So he's making a play on words there, basically indicating that the elites, the corporatists of the Republican Party are completely out of sync, and we'll see exactly how it is that they're so far out of sync. Now, the Republican elites have relied on the angry base of white voters to vote for them since Nixon's Southern strategy, which was either in 68 or 72. So they've been relying on this for a long, long time. But what's happening right now is that their base, the angry white voters, have not coalesced around an establishment candidate. No, they have not. They've coalesced around, guess who? Dr. D, Dr. Donald. And what came out just recently is that some of the elites are actually saying, you know, it's the fault of those poor white working middle class people, that angry base. It's their own fault. They did it to themselves. Meaning that they could not pick themselves up by the bootstraps. And, you know, implying, in essence, that their angry base that they've relied on, who has left them for Donald Trump, you know, were actually part of that 47% that Romney talked about in 2012. They are actually part of that those people who Paul Ryan talked about, who sat on the hammock and were lulled into the sense, you know, that they're going to be taken care of by the nanny state. Now, I'll just make a quick point here. You know, I'm a white guy. I've been on unemployment a number of times. It stinks. It's demoralizing. It's debasing. In the last time that it's happened to me, I had no idea how much it zaps you of your self-esteem and how hard it is as I get older to find a decent job. I have decent qualifications. Tough to find something. But what's going on here is that the elites are now blaming their base, who are going to Donald, that it's their fault that they're not getting ahead. And of course, one of the things that has come up recently, and Dr. Krugman points this out, is there was a study done showing that the generation, I think just a little bit younger than me, of white working class people, you know, are having increases in their mortality rates due to booze, due to prescription drugs, due to regular drugs, especially opiates in terms of prescription drugs, and especially suicide. And you know, it's funny because I just had a guy tell me, I think earlier this week or late last week, that a friend of his passed away, OD'd on pills deliberately. And I think he said sleeping pills. This person was, you know, my age. He was 63. So, but that's what we've seen a lot about. But the thing is that these poor, working, lower educated people who the Republicans have relied on are basically in Trump's camp now. And of course, the elite are now saying it's their fault. And it's their fault because they don't have the type of values that'll allow them to move themselves up. And of course, the real culprit in all of this is the Republican game plan and the Republican position on economics for the last 60 or 80 years, let's just say, is that they want to decrease the economic opportunity of other people. meaning that they don't care about the poor, they don't really care about the working class, they just want to cut taxes on the rich. And then if you are morally superior like they are, then you will pull yourself up from the bootstraps. And those who can't get it, it's their fault because they don't have the moral values that it's required to move up in this society. And of course, this economic opportunity that I talked about, basically hit the black population first when manufacturing started to move out of the inner cities in the 50s, when it started to move out way out in the suburbs or into the southern states where there wasn't union representation, and of course in the bigger cities where it was difficult for people to get to those jobs. And of course, the Republicans don't have any solution for that but to decrease taxes, etc., and then blame, anyone who is taking any type of what they would call a handout, an earned benefit, because you pay into unemployment insurance, you pay into Social Security, etc., and they don't have a solution. Now, as I've said on other times, that Trump is a political genius, or whoever on his staff is coming up with this stuff, because Trump is basically saying, we have a Muslim problem and I'm going to take care of it for you. We have a Mexican problem and I'm going to take care of it for you with the wall and with deportation of families. We have an ISIS problem, and I'm not only going to waterboard them, I'm going to come up with what I'm going to call enhanced waterboarding, and we're going to bomb them to smithereens. Remember that old line? And China, they're not going to have nothing on us anymore. We're going to take care of them. I am going to renegotiate all those contracts, and they will not be a problem for you. All right? But the thing is, this is why he's winning, is because he's not blaming their morality. He's not blaming their lack of values that the Republican elites are. He's saying all of these other factors that make, let's just say, white people who are racist, who are not segregationists. What do you call can't remember offhand. But who are with the Aryan nation in places, white supremacists, who are backing Trump. They hear what he has to say. He's not blaming their morality. He's not blaming their values. He's blaming something else. And that's good for them. That's why they're following Trump. And that's why, the Republican elites, the corporatists, they're so out of touch, they'll never get those people back again, because they'll always want that savior like Donald to come and get them and help them. But they're making a big stab at trying to get rid of the Donald right now. We'll see what happens. That's it for today. I'm also on Facebook. I can be found under The Lifetime Liberal. That's one word, The Lifetime Liberal. Feel free to join, participate. All comments, both positive and negative, are always appreciated.